Welcome to my channel. I'm Dani Marie AUC, and today I am in the car outside of a new optometrist office so I can go get a new eye exam and some new glasses. But not just any glasses. I am finally getting transition lenses today. Well, not today, but in this video, I'm going to take you through the process of what my eye exam is going to include and what picking out new frames is like, and then I'm going to show off my transition lenses. So let's get into it. So because I'm going to see a brand new doctor today, I'm going to get the new patient treatment, which should include all the bright lights in my eyes, some dilation, maybe an eye pressure test, and who knows. But I'll let you guys know. So I'm back from the optometrist office. This is actually 2 days later, but I've had some time to put my thoughts down into words and whatnot, and let's talk about the doctor's appointment. So first I went back and answered some basic questions about medication, health issues, or anything like that. And I told the nurse, I said, I'm legally blind. And then I got a nice chuckle because she immediately asks, "Oh, can you see?" So it's not the first time that's happened, but it is funny when it happens at an optometrist office. So next, I went into a room with two machines. The first machine was meant to basically get a rough guesstimate of my prescription. So it featured a chin rest and a forehead guard. And I had to look at this little image of a balloon as it went in and out of focus. And I'm guessing there were cameras in this machine that would help sort of gauge when my eye was focusing and when it wasn't. But I'm not positive on that, so I'm no expert here by any means. This machine also had rings all around it. I mean, it was maybe like an 8-inch diameter, and then the tiny balloon picture that I had to look at. Turns out these little rings were bright blue LED lights. I guess that was just to help get a clear image or photo of my eyes in focus. The next machine was the joyful eye pressure test. Okay, so it's your typical eye pressure machine where it also has a chin rest and a forehead guard. You place your face in there, you stare at a little green light, and a puff of air is blown into your eye, and I guess the feedback tells the machine what pressure your eye's at. So every time that puff of air was blown into my eye, I would physically flinch, like my entire body. Needless to say, I think we tried at least 4 times on one eye, and I don't know how many on the other. It was fun. So after that, we went to another room with a bigger machine in it. This machine was really cool, actually, and essentially, I think this machine replaced eye dilation because it's a giant camera that takes a picture of the inside of your eye. So you can see all the blood vessels and all the cool stuff going on inside the eye. This machine was particularly hard. So it sounded a bit like a laser when it booted up, which was kind of fun. But there was essentially a rubber eyepiece that I had to press my eye into. No, not into so much that it hurt, but into so that my eye was isolated from light, I think. And then I had to look at a little blue target. And when the technician or nurse, I'm honestly not exactly sure what she was, when she got it where she thought my eye was in a good place, she would snap the picture, and this really, really, really intense yellow light would come horizontally across my vision to light up my eye. That one hurt a lot, I gotta say. It was so bright. My eye hurts a little bit just thinking about it right now. But we tried that one multiple times. She did finally get some good pictures of my eyes. They're very cool looking. So next, I went to the actual optometrist office. This was just a very typical office setup, so it had all the machines you'd expect, including the board and the mirror for the letters, the machine to help test out new prescriptions, and also the machine that helps the doctor see into your eye. So the optometrist came in and we greeted each other. It was very friendly. And I said, oh, I have albinism, I'm legally blind, and I have all the fun things that go along with that. And he says, oh yeah. And I realized after the fact that that reaction was because my fiance, who had seen him before me, actually gave him a heads up. That's fine with me, by the way, because I had actually mentioned to my fiance, who called to make both of our appointments because he had been to this doctor's office before. I actually mentioned to him to tell him I had albinism so they would be prepared, so to speak, because sometimes I can be a challenge with some of the tests I just mentioned. But anyway, he said, oh yeah. So we jumped into the exam. He asked me a few questions. We talked about glasses and things for just a minute. And then he showed me the pictures of my eyes enthusiastically. Like, I could tell this guy loves his job because he showed me these pictures twice, and both times was very enthusiastic. So these pictures, they were so pretty. They were like these beautiful pieces of artwork, honestly, with yellows and oranges and greens in there. And I mean, if you hung that on a wall, I don't think you'd know it was inside of an eye if you didn't know. I thought that was so cool. But anyway, he was describing to me how normally you can only see the outside vessels, you know, in front of something called the fundus. And I'm still trying to do more research on this to figure out exactly what's going on in there. But he told me I had some specific type of fundus that allowed him to see into the rest of my eye. So for me, he could see the rest of my blood vessels in my eye, which seemed to fascinate him. And I mean, it was pretty to me. Obviously, I haven't seen a bazillion pictures of other people's eyes to really compare, but I just thought that was exciting because he was excited. Next, he looked at my eyes with a pen light to gauge how my eyes were tracking, my eye alignment, my nystagmus, and just to generally look at, I think, the outside of my eyes, really. So he pointed something out to me that I'd always known about albinism, but I never understood it and what it meant for myself. So he actually pointed out where my null point was. And for those of you who don't know, a null point is related to nystagmus, and it's the point where you're looking in a direction and your nystagmus slows down. So for me, that actually was just below center for me. So when he told me that, all the pieces in my head kind of fell together. Like, I'm used to watching myself in these videos and in the videos from my music channel, and I always wondered why I end up tilting my head back like this in the videos. And now I know that's because of my nystagmus and my null point. And I don't know why it was such a revelation, but it really was. And I guess going to the new optometrist was worth it just for that. So next, he used the machine with all the lenses to see if my prescription needed an adjustment. And this machine is always a struggle for me because, yes, you bump up my prescription, I can see that the image is getting clearer, but as it gets clearer, it also gets smaller, so it doesn't actually give me any usable vision improvement. So I always find that difficult to explain to a doctor. I always feel silly explaining it because I'm like, don't you already know, you know? But they don't. They can't know everything. Like, they can't fully understand everyone's experience. And I mean, that makes sense because they're only human too. But either way, that test took forever. It felt like we were just going back and forth, back and forth. Better one, better two. Is this one better? Is this one better? And like I said, it just took way longer than I thought it should. Next, we moved on to the machine where he could look inside of my eye. And this one's always fun. It's bright. Ugh. It's always bright. And it's a struggle for me because there will be a bright light over here on my right, and he will be telling me to look to my left, which my eyes don't always cooperate. They tend to focus on the way the bright light's going, which is so weird. Like in the test with the camera where that bright light went across my vision, my left eye especially, which is my worst eye, for those who don't know, would follow the light across my vision. So I don't know why my eyes follow the light. If someone knows, please feel free to drop an explanation in the comments because I really would love to know. So next he looked into my eyes. That went fine. He said my eye health was good, but he did mention that I needed to be careful and make sure to always wear sunglasses. Now, I always do wear sunglasses because my photophobia is pretty severe, but him saying this really made me think that UV rays are probably very harmful to my eyes because they don't have that protection like they're supposed to. So, just something to think about for those of you who have albinism, those of you who have photophobia. Just keep that in mind. The sunglasses aren't just to help you, they're also to protect your eyes. So when we were about done, he actually asked me what low vision tools I use. You know, like my handheld CCTV, my monocular, and also I mentioned that I used my phone camera a lot because so many of us do use our phone cameras essentially as handheld CCTVs as well. And that to me is a good one. But he did inform me that my city has a low vision specialist who comes to town every now and then. So that was really great news for me because I'm used to having to travel 1 to 2 hours out of town to see a low vision specialist. So I learned a few things on this trip. Next, we got to pick out frames. Now, I always struggle with frames because, well, I'm legally blind. I struggle to pick out frames that match my face or telling whether they're too big for my face. I use the mirrors, but sometimes it's easier for me to also take a picture with my phone and sort of study that to see, well, did these look good on me or not? Thankfully, I had my fiance to help for a little bit, and I also had an optician who helped, and she was so wonderful. I really enjoyed meeting her and getting to work with her. So we picked out a pair of frames. She helped. They're very cute. You'll see them soon. But she helped me pick out a pair of frames that would work well with my face and also would go well with the transitions. So the cost. This is the thing that I always dread, but I did come prepared. I'm always prepared to pay quite a lot. Even when insurance helps to cover my glasses, I still usually end up paying about $200, $250 on top of that to get the kind of lenses and the coatings and the tint and the things that I need. So my sunglasses I bought, oh gosh, 5 or 6 years ago, maybe more. Those were more like $400 or $500. They were not cheap, but I still use them today, so it was a great investment for me. And honestly, I recommend them to anybody who has photophobia that's pretty severe and regularly wears prescription glasses. What did my transition lenses cost? They cost me $400, $405 to be exact. So I have a list here of what each part of the glasses cost because I know some of you will be curious. So I'm going to read this off of my phone. Okay, my frames were $55, very good price for frames. My lenses were $35 each for 2, that's $70 total. My extra active transitions, I will explain that in a minute. Those were $80. An anti-glare and blue light coating. So I normally get anti-glare on my glasses, but this is the first time I've ever tried a blue light coating as well as the anti-glare. That cost me $120. And high index lenses. This is a 1.67 index lens, which is, if I understand right, it's a type of material that allows my glasses to be thinner than they normally would be if they were just made out of standard glass. That cost me $100. So the total was $425, but my lovely optician, she quoted me $405 to begin with, so she gave me that $20 discount. So let's talk about transitions. How do they work? Magic. That's how. I'm just kidding, guys. It's science. It's obviously science. But you know, before the great scientific discoveries were made, people thought a lot of those things going on were magic too. So maybe it's a little bit of science and a little bit of magic. So Transitions is actually a name brand of photochromic lenses. And you might be surprised to know that these lenses were invented in the 60s. So I'm going to read these names so I don't mess them up. They were invented by 2 guys in the 60s named William H. Armistead and Stanley Donald Stuckey of Corning Glassworks. So they patented their design in '62, and back then it worked a bit like film. It used silver crystals, and when the UV hit it, it would darken, and when the UV left, it would lighten again. Today, photochromic lenses work by containing a molecule and dye that when UV light hits it, the shape of the molecule changes, which causes them to darken. And when the UV light is removed, they change shape back and can get completely clear for those who get the original transition lenses. The type of photochromic transition lens that I got is called extra active. These basically start as already tinted lenses. So they're already tinted so that in situations where they normally wouldn't change colors, like indoors and in vehicles, because vehicle windows now have UV protection on them, I still have my tinted lenses. But when I go outside and the UV light hits the lenses, they'll get even darker than normal transitions will. So I'm really excited to try them out, and I hope you guys are excited to see them too. So I'm gonna make this short and sweet. I have had my transition lenses for a couple weeks, and I've been using them. I went into this expecting them to be somewhere between my regular glasses and my actual prescription sunglasses, because I knew they wouldn't get as dark as my prescription sunglasses. But I was hoping they would kind of cover that middle ground between the two. And really, I think they do a pretty good job. I think they will be great for overcast days, rainy days, just days when I am literally in the car, getting out of the car and going into somewhere else. Days where I just don't need a ton of sun protection. I think they'll be great for that. Overall, I think I really like them. I like this new frame shape too. It's different than what I usually do. I usually go for little square frames that are a smaller lens. These are a little bit bigger, which I did on purpose. I did want a bigger lens so that I could have more sun coverage. And these frames are like a light purple on the bottom of the lenses, and then at the top and on the arms they are a black and clear, I'd say like a tortoiseshell stripe. I will insert a picture where you can see that pretty well here somewhere. But I really enjoy them so far, and I think they'll be good for those particular uses. And look for more mention of them in the future too. As I use them more and more, I will share more of my thoughts and opinions on them. I also plan to make a video about my prescription sunglasses, and how useful those are to me and how highly I recommend them, because I do. I totally hope it is not too crazy out here. I'm shooting outside on my deck, by the way, which is different. This camera is pretty heavy to hold up. I literally have it propped on my knee. So hopefully it looks good. But yeah, you guys, if you want to support my channel, leave me a like, comment, subscribe, and until next time, stay curious. Bye!